Welcome back to Project Independence and You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. Rebecca Miller, along with Otto Los and, of course, Kristina Liu and Dan Cox. Right now, we're at the Talk of the Town segment for Project Independence and You. But, of course, before we get into what's happening at the town and Project Independence, we always like to talk about the guests that we had on. You know, it's just one of those, I don't even think 5 hours would have been enough to kind of cover all the programs, all the information that's out there, but great guests. And what are you thinking for the next time they're on, Kristina?
I know, well, and Rebecca is referring to, because once again, if you're watching this on North Hempstead TV and you're wondering what we're talking about our first guest we had on Family and Children's Association, who we've been partnered with since Project Independence's inception, and they provide so many wonderful services. We've had different guests from them. Obviously, our fabulous Barry Klitzberg has been on in the past as well, doing all of our Medicare. He'll be on again in October. We just had Manda Cristal on doing scam awareness. And then today, we really had a general overview of all their programs that are provided. And that was with Lisa Stern and Jeannie Cacciatore, who it's just, there's so many realms. And I want everyone to know, it's not even, we focused on senior programs, but Family and Children's Association does so much for children, for substance abuse, for mental health in general. And, I'm familiar with them for so many years, but I feel every time we sit down and talk to them, there's something new I'm learning, or I forgot that I have like all kinds of, crazy notes, just listening to their interview, because I just think it's such a wonderful partnership, and you guys both touched upon it during the segment. This is what it's all about, and Project Independence to connect to these services, and this radio show, to have the forum to really showcase these amazing services that are available out there. So it's just another tool for our giant toolbox that's clearly overflowing at this point. So it's really great. So if you missed that interview, you could always check it out. Find the schedule on North Hempstead TV, or you can go to our Project Independence website or the WCWP website, a YouTube page, to see any past episodes, especially this one, because it's great information. And of course, you can call 311 or 516-869-6311, and we'd be able to connect you to them. So
one of the things that they touched on too, that you kind of talked a little bit just now, is the intergenerational programming that they do as well. I guess being family and children, it's the whole gamut. So, those are just always such great programs.
Yeah, and it's just, they really do pay attention to trends and needs that are going on in the community, and that's what we're all trying to do. And it's such a great thing, and they had mentioned the elder abuse, committee. I've been to a few of those as well. And it's really so many different people and organizations all coming together to figure out a way to kind of combat this. So it's just great. And the smart van, of course, I think is just the most amazing thing to have, technology. And so I was talking to them, I'm like, oh, fair. So hopefully we'll be able to do a little program with that. And I love that it's, young teenagers providing these services. That's what we always talk about, that's the best way to really get people to learn about different technology stuff. So great interview, so many wonderful services, and I'm sure we'll have more of them. We'll have more specifics, because this really was a general overview, and there was so many different realms that I was like, oh, that'd be great to have a speaker for that. So I'm sure we'll have them at the advisory meetings too, and whatnot. But great interview. So just check it out. Please listen.
The fact that they mentioned that they're training the younger teenager or whatever to teach seniors, it's easy. Kids nowadays have grown up with this stuff, so it's like breathing. And it is.
You come out like knowing how to swipe. I just
yeah. Well, that right there. I remember when I first learned that, I asked my grandson, how do you use this phone?
Right.
You have to use your finger.
No, and now I literally, no joke, see infants.
That was like, oh my God, this thing is all over the place.
I know.
And eventually it becomes like you don't even think about it, you just do it.
Right.
But in the beginning,
it's like a foreign. I remember even myself, when my first iPhone with the home button, I was like so confused with like what you press to get, and that was I was clearly, new technology stuff, but it's just an adjustment. And I think that was something that struck me too, is that, the fact they're training these teenagers how to, teach someone who's really unfamiliar with it. And there's something in my personal life I certainly came across too, because we have a running joke in my family, because my grandpa he said to my mom and I once, and he said, well, what's the difference between an iPhone and Facebook? And I was like, all right, like now we're gonna have to start square one, like the fact that you think these two things are, on the same level. But, that's just like an example, that, and I know, like, there's times even with my dad, I'll be talking about something and you see like the blank stare on his face, because it's like I'm speaking a foreign language, so it's really important to have that patience and really start from, the beginnings and the basics, because you have to realize people don't understand what, you're saying sometimes.
Well, just talking out loud about that, if you think about television nowadays, all right, most people do not watch TV shows live, but I still have friends that they have to get home by 9 o'clock because they have to watch whatever. And maybe there ought to be a little session somewhere that adds television and the use of a DVR and streaming and all of that type of thing. Because really, television, if you just go by what's on at that time, is a very different deal.
I don't know if I agree with you, Otto. Just because I know that there are some shows that a lot of us here watch at work, and if I don't watch it and I DVR it, I don't want anyone talking about it in the audience. I mean, at the office, So I don't know. There's something kind of cool about.
But you go to an office, all right?
Watching something live, and
I totally understand both sides.
Right, I do too.
I'm like, I make use of it all, but I do understand. Like, there are some things, whether it's like a series finale or, the premiere of a show, and you want to like watch it, and that's why I still, have cable to this day. And Dan is making me laugh, the things that he's sending me, because he knows I really hold on tight to that, cable, in addition to all these streaming things.
There is another side to it, all right? When you're able to stream and watch, like Grantchester is a show that we watch, all right? And because of streaming, we were able to watch 2-3 shows in a row.
Of course.
One of the things that happens, and it's a fact, when you become older as a senior, you get to the second show and you don't remember exactly what happened at the end of the first show.
So you're a proponent of the binging, is really what you're saying.
Yeah, definitely.
Listen,
if you're able to
it
watch
happens when you're not a senior.
Yeah. Well, so I mean, you're right. There's pluses and minuses.
Right.
Most seniors are not in an office. Yeah. They don't have anybody spoiling the ending because they're not talking to anybody about it.
Excuse me.
My point is that I think it doesn't hurt to know how to record a program.
Yeah, of course.
Oh yeah, I know. I was just saying
my dad, because and I'll use him as my perfect example of non-tech savvy person. I had put a Fire Stick on his TV upstairs, so he was able to, mainly for the purpose, because the Yankee games a lot of times are streamed and not on regular cable, and that just put him through. You getting a scam call?
I don't know if you can see this, but I'm just showing you. My phone is alerting me that I'm getting a potential scam phone call. So I just thought I'd share that with everybody.
There you go. But back to the Yankee game. So it's the streaming of it, is complicated. So anyone that's listening, will know sometimes you have to go on Apple TV or Prime, and that, because he loves the Yankees, got him, to have to semi-figure out, with my, tech assistance, how to, do these things. But I do think, Otto, you're right, because we are in a time where that is kind of the way things are going. And what's great about streaming stuff is that you do have access to, old shows or shows that might be obscure and on some other type of network that you're not getting on cable. So I just, I definitely think, Otto, that you are certainly right. And maybe that's something that the smart van is able to teach people. So
I mean, there's basics. You have to be able to change the source, and if you don't do that, you can't do anything.
Right.
Basically, I mean, you go from one to the other. And that may be like using the mouse. All right, that's like you never did that, so you have all
And I think you had a good point too, is that, I think with a lot of seniors too, it seems like such a foreign concept, a lot of these things, and I remember when we would do, many, many years ago at our tech conference when we had, a speaker who wrote a book all about being terrified of technology, and it was because it really is. It seems like something that you can't even wrap your head around. But look, here you're saying, the mouse seemed like, what is this thing? And now it's like second nature, so it's one of those things that, the more you use it, it becomes just part of, how you do it. So, and I always want people to realize that, it just takes a little practice, a little adjustment, and you're able to really open your world up, certainly, to a lot of things. So,
Cute little story I want to share just from
mhm.
my own. So I graduated high school in 1982.
Mhm.
And back then, we used to rush home and watch All My Children, One Life to Live, and General Hospital. So that was kind of the thing. And then after I graduated, I just stopped watching soap operas. And you're either in college or you're going to work, and it just doesn't fit in. And over the years, I really never thought about ever watching it again. It just didn't happen. Of course, meeting Susan Lucci, though, was life-changing a couple of years ago. That was fun. But a couple of months ago, my friend was talking to me about General Hospital, and she said, Scotty or someone, one of the Luke, died. They killed him off, and I'm like, oh my God, is that show still on? She's like, of course it is. She goes, I record it every day. I watch. She's still since.
I like that. I appreciate
2023.
I like that. You know what? That's some Kristina stuff. I mean, you're talking to a girl who still like rewatches like 90210 reruns. So I support that. I like a dedicated TV show watcher. I appreciate your friend.
I think she thinks she's like in the family, So it was so funny. Anyway, I just had to share that.
I like it. It's great. But anyway, we just encourage people. We could talk this forever, but to, kind of dip your toe in the tech thing, tech world, whatever it might be, start small, whatever you're comfortable with. But I definitely think in the future, we will probably have some kind of partnership program going on with the Smart Band, because I think it's a great place for us to all come together, and learn some new tech stuff. So anyway, if you ever miss anything, once again, please go to the Project Independence website or the WCWP YouTube page, because there's so many great shows. And we have a lot of great shows coming up. I want to let people know that next week we'll have on Monica Ritchie, who is a nurse practitioner over at Northwell Health, and she's going to come on to talk about arthritis treatment, what everyone should know. Which I'm sure we're going to learn have a lot of golden nuggets in that one, because that's certainly something I know a lot of people struggle with. So that's next week. And then we also have coming up, we have better beverage choices and the importance of hydration. That's with the Cornell Cooperative Extension will be on, which I think is so, so important. We're always preaching the importance of hydration on this show, especially on hot weather like this. I think it's so important. I'm constantly yelling at everyone around me to make sure you're hydrated. And they always give us really great tips on there. So I'm really excited for that. And then, of course, we have some other guests coming up in September. We're going to have our supervisor will be on to celebrate our 12th anniversary, which will be great. We'll talk about all kinds of wonderful shows and what's to come. We're going to have the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, who's doing a lot of great work in the community, will be on. And I'm in the process of scheduling some other guests as well. So definitely.
I saw Otto had his finger up.
I actually, hydration. I play golf still, and I played yesterday, and it's pretty warm out on the golf course. But we're driving, all right, so it's not really that terrible. But one of the things that all of the guys and girls that I play with do is we take a bottle of water and put it in the freezer.
That's my dad's special, Otto. That's my dad's go-to when we're on vacation in Montauk.
When you have that out on the golf course, it lasts a lot longer.
Yes.
And it's cold. So if you're going to be out where it's hot, it's not a bad approach.
It's the greatest approach, and that's like that's our family go-to when we're on the beach. So as soon as we always check into the hotel room, my dad immediately puts, the water bottles in the freezer, and it's great. And it also serves as like an ice pack in the meantime, which is great too. So it could, it just has a multi-purpose, Otto. So I support that. Little golden nugget, because it's certainly and it really does last so long, because as you mentioned, we've had a lot of hot weather, and I had one in like a little cooler bag, just to serve as like the purpose of an ice pack kind of situation, and it lasted all day long, and we were out all day. So
now my question's going to be, when we have somebody on, does that mean that you consumed less water, because it's still only a bottle of water, right? So should I have had 2 bottles of water?
Well, see, now you write these questions down, Otto. You're gonna have to.
Of frozen water.
There you go. Well, now you have a lot of questions that you could ask our guest next week.
I don't know the answer.
And we'll find out. We're all gonna be waiting with bated breath now for next week's show. So,
is ice, does it make the water concentrated so that you're actually drinking more water, or am I overthinking the whole thing?
You guys have burning questions that will be answered next week. So I'm definitely, but you'll all be proud of me too, because I took our advice that we had on a couple of weeks ago. We had on an important skin health topic and kind of how to protect your skin. So I was just on the beach in Montauk for a few days, and I have to say, our entire family, who normally can be a little reckless with sun stuff, everyone really made a purpose of covering themselves, of wearing protection, going under the umbrella. And we were also proud of ourselves, at the end of the day, because no one was like blistering and burnt and uncomfortable. It was just a good
I didn't do that when I was your age. Yeah. So tomorrow morning I'm going for my at 9:15 dermatology visit. And they always want to do a lot. And I'm one that says, no, let's pick the spots. We'll do this.
Right.
We're not going to do it all.
No, it's a lot. So, but definitely important. So I took our golden nuggets from the show to do. So happy about that.
And a visor. I started wearing a visor as opposed to even just a sun hat, but the visor that comes out further. I used to, my nose used to always get sunburned, and now it doesn't.
See?
I'm wearing that visor. Yeah.
Tips and tricks, guys.
All right, you know what? On that note, let's take a quick break. You're listening to Talk of the Town on Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. And we'll be right back after a quick break.
Take WCWP with you wherever you go with the WCWP app. Listen live 24/7 to all of our streams, all from one app. Plus, call the studios directly from the app and visit our social media. Download the app through the iOS App Store on Apple devices or the Google Play Store on Android by searching WCWP Radio, or visit WCWP.org for links. The WCWP app, available now on iOS and Android devices.
And welcome back to Project Independence in You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. Rebecca Miller, along with Otto Los and Kristina Lou and Dan Cox. And we are in our second Talk of the Town segment on Project Independence in You. So, Kristina, what is happening? What's the good stuff going on in the town?
There's a lot going on.
Project Independence.
Well, what I do want to touch upon, Beck, because earlier this week, my days are all foggy, was the Fun Day Monday Health Fair. So tell us, was it a well attended? Was there a lot of different organizations? Is there anyone that looks like a good guest for the radio show? What's the scoop?
So yes to all. It was packed. It was a warm day. So, we had I don't even know how many vendors. We had Northwell, and they had their mobile unit there doing balance testing. And it was very interesting. And every kind of, I want to say, health fair, system there that was there, they all tried to do different things. So we weren't duplicating, we didn't have 5 people doing blood pressure. We didn't have, all that kind of stuff. So we had, Northwell actually had someone do chair yoga. They had someone from, I think, neurology. It was just like a lot of different, NYU Langone was there, and FCA was there, and AARP. I don't want to leave anyone out, but we had so many great guests, and it was busy, and everybody had bags, and they were filled up. It was constant. It was a constant day. We also had the produce guy there, so it was really good. We had some lovely announcements, and I would be remiss not to talk about Gia Montalbano, who last week, she's going to kill me when she finds out about her on the radio show, because I've tortured her all week. She turned 60, so we did a little surprise happy birthday for Gia at Fun Day Monday. We had a lot of speakers.
Happy birthday! Now you're a PI member,
Right. So we joined her as a PI member, and we gave her a PI membership card, and Alexis blew it up, so it was really big, and we laminated it, and we also gave her a cafe card, which is where people go to get their goodies on the day, and blew that up, and then we gave it to her. It was very nice, and she was so surprised. She has this hysterical picture of her. She thought she was getting in trouble, which I love. I think is so fun. Like, how can we get in trouble? She really does coordinate the entire health fair, and spends a lot of time, getting all the details from all the different vendors and how it's going to be set up and where they're coming. Do they need electric? Do they not? So there's a lot of details involved than just having someone unload their car at a table, because she did a great job, and we did really, shock her. So that was really fun.
But I'm sorry I missed it. That's the one that I usually make sure I get
I know.
to.
Otto was not happy about missing it.
Yeah, I had to go to a funeral.
Oh, sorry to hear
Yeah,
that.
but it was for somebody who's been struggling for a long time, so it was not a bad thing.
Right,
It was a good thing. There's times where it's a good thing.
Right, yeah, to end that.
But on that note,
that health fair is a great.
It really is, and it was like really. You really felt like COVID is done. I mean, I'm not saying that it is, but it
felt a little more normal, right? A little more throwback.
It was much more normal. It was, we still have people that wear masks, and that's fine. We encourage that if that's how you're feeling, certainly. And there was so much foot traffic, and people really were, talking to the vendors and getting information, and, not just their little promotional pill boxes for the week. So it was great. It was a very, very good event. It was not easy on staff because we were so busy, and the sun was out, and buses were unloading all day. It was quite an event. Very successful.
Where did the buses all come from?
What's that?
Where
You
do
call
all the
for
buses?
transportation. They have
From all
fixed
over, right?
routes.
Yeah.
In the summer, you just call 311 if you want, and they'll
Yeah,
squeeze.
they have I have the flyer right in front of me. So there's all different locations throughout the town, so Great Neck Manhasset has an area. There's a bunch in Great Neck, Mineola, Williston Park, Albertson, Roslyn Heights has a bunch, Manhasset, Port Washington, New Hyde Park, Herricks, Westbury, Carr Place, Mineola. I mean, and there's so many under each one. So there's a whole host. And as Beck said, you would just call 311 for, the specific one that's closest to you, which I think
Right.
is
Where
really
your
great.
stop would be.
And next week at Fun Day Monday is going to be the Beat-a-Likes will be performing, and that's July 31st. And of course,
They actually just performed at CGM not last week.
Oh,
And I heard that they did great. They were
great.
loved
So
them.
you can, if you missed it, you can check them out at Fun Day Monday.
That's right.
And that day also will have a special craft also. So you can call 311 if you are interested in partaking at that at the beach, because they have to have a special count. So I think that's
right. And if you're listening, again, then we should tell the date. So Friday's date is the 27th?
28th.
Okay, so
28th.
Friday is July 28th.
Yeah, so we're referring to July 31st is the Monday of this.
Right,
program.
and make sure you call to register because we only have a certain amount of crafts. So please call this Friday. Please call Friday and try to get in.
Great. And then coming up in August will be Dance Aloha, the Elvis tribute. There'll be a Rat Pack tribute with Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin, Jerry Lewis. And August 21st, of course, is the Hometown USA Salute to the Troops, where there's a vintage car show, the Quartrain Quartet, Bud and Linda. And that's such a wonderful, and there's going to be some vendors there too, with different veteran services
Right.
As well. And of course, there's always pickleball and line dancing and Tai Chi and the farm stand. I mean, there's so many things going on there. And of course, monitor the weather always, whether it's, listen, if it's too hot, it'll also be canceled too. So there's really, you see in the office, you see everyone running around with their weather apps, tracking the weather and stuff going on.
We're shaking.
Because if it's, the weather is bad, it's on the following Thursday of that week. So, but just always call 311 if you have any questions, if a program is on, because we wouldn't want you to go all the way down there if the program happened to be canceled. So check it out though. It's nice. I mean, listen, you're just plowing through Fun Day Monday,
I can't believe it.
It's
I don't
really,
even know if that was the second or third. I have no idea. I think it was the third one.
That was the third. Yep, it was
left.
the third one. Yep, the third one. So definitely check that out. But then I also want people to mark their calendars, and you can actually register now. I have registered for this program. The Citizen Preparedness Corp program is going to be on Wednesday, September 6th at 9 a.m. It's about 2 hours, the program. It'll be at Clinton G. Martin Park. You have to register for this event if you are interested in attending. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. It is a partnership with New York State, and they need you to register. And it's all about, with severe weather events becoming more frequent and more extreme, it is more important than ever for us to be prepared for disasters. The New York Citizen Preparedness Training Program teaches residents to have the tools and resources to prepare for any type of disaster, respond accordingly, and recover as quickly as possible to pre-disaster conditions. The training course gives you an intro to natural disasters and man-made disasters. You're going to be advised how to prepare for it, how to do a family emergency plan, stock up on supplies, and each family gets one backpack kit that has all different supplies. I got it many, many years ago when I attended this program, and it's something I still use to this day, and I update it as it goes on. But once again, there's limited spots for this. You have to register. You can do that by going to www.prepare.ny.gov, or you can call 311 if you didn't write that down, and they can give you the link to do that too. Unfortunately, it's just online registering at this point. Of course, if you do not have access to a computer or are unable to do that, just let 311 know. It'll come over to me, and I will be happy to, put your registration in. So it's such an important program. Clearly, we all, I think, can agree that weather has been a little crazy. There's a lot of things going on, whether it's smoke or, crazy temperatures or weird weather, whatever it is, it's so important to be prepared, because that's our motto on this show, is to really prepare before you're in the emergency. So once again, Wednesday, September 6th, 9 a.m. It probably will end around like 11-ish. So please sign up for that. Such an important program. Otto, I hope you have signed up for this program.
I have signed up. Actually, I
Good.
was just looking at the flyer to see if I said yes. I said yes, registered 7/7.
Good. So I will
23,
see you there, my friend, because it's a really great program.
Now, I got a short-term one I wanted to ask you
Sure.
about, which is in my walking park, Tully, tomorrow. The pickleball courts are opening tomorrow.
Yes. Well, and he's referring to they're opening, right now we're pre-recording this, so it already have been opened.
Right. You're right. It would
But
have already happened.
let me find, okay.
It's tomorrow at 12 o'clock, which is Thursday.
Right. So that will be,
yesterday.
I was referring to, right, that but I mean, it's still going to be open regardless. All levels are welcome. There'll be, you'll be able to have a brand new course. Obviously, Otto was referring to an event that took place already, so they're not going to have the whole event there. But the pickleball court, nonetheless, will be open. I know we've been talking about it for a while.
There are 14 new pickleball courts.
Yeah, and it's ID cards are required to participate in the pickleball. You can register for your ID card at the Tully Aquatic Center Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 7 p.m., Saturday and Sunday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. The ID card is complimentary. Non-resident guests are not permitted at this time, I think because of the demand for it. Obviously, we want our North Hempstead residents to get priority in this, but if it changes, we will definitely let you know. To register for an annual pickleball ID card, you need 3 proofs of residency. I just want people to be aware, so if you're going there, to have these with you. Property tax bill or deed must show section, block, and lot number, or if you're renting, a lease agreement, your current utility bill, whether it's gas, electric, water, cable, telephone, and your driver's license or non-driver's ID or birth certificate if it's for a child. A fee of $5 will be charged for replacement cards. Lost cards will be deactivated. These ID cards are non-transferable and they are revoked if there's any issues. If you have need any other questions, please call 311. But it's really exciting that Tully has opened this pickleball court. I'm sure it's going
I wonder
to
how they promoted this. I'm going to stop by here tomorrow.
great.
Now, the show obviously means I was there yesterday.
Right.
But we could talk about it next week.
That's right.
But I'm going to try to stop by just to see what kind of activity.
That's right. I told you, Otto, you are our man on the streets. I like when you go get in there.
Pickleball's the new pandemic. First of all, we're doing pickleball at Fun Day Monday, and we have an instructor that comes 9 to 11, and it's packed the whole time. We have the nets up. After the instructor leaves, we still have an open court, and it's just nonstop. That is such a busy area. Pickleball is hot.
Yeah.
Well, like I'm assuming that you have to bring your own pickleball equipment to this in order to play.
Well, just like you would go to play tennis.
Right.
Right.
Bring your own racket. You might bring your own balls. They might. I don't know I don't think they supply, but I don't know. You'd have to call 311.
I doubt that they would. I mean, you know.
Yeah, because it doesn't.
But how is it at Fun Day Monday? Do you have to have your own equipment?
We supply everything. So, but most people bring their own stuff.
Right.
We have the nets, we have the paddles, the balls. We do, but that's a different kind of program. We always have supplied all that stuff.
But you can always call 311 and ask them, if you need to bring it. So I'm not totally sure about that either. But I think it's great. It's certainly something that we constantly are getting. There's always people coming in asking about pickleball, and the fact that now it's going to be at Tully Park is really great. And Otto, I can't wait to hear your report back about what it looks like and everything. So.
Yes.
Should be interesting.
Definitely.
Watch them build the pickleball courts.
See, you're very invested. There's a full investment in all of this, which I really like.
I'm waiting for them to redo the parking lot.
Well, you know what? I'm sure like baby steps that
well, it's on the bill. They're going to do it.
Mm-hmm. Great. So we always like to hear that. Of course, we've been promoting the Wellness Wednesday programs that have been going on all summer long with our partnership with North Shore University Hospital and Northwell Health. The next one is August 2nd, meditation on the beach at North Hempstead Beach Park from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. On August 9th will be a skin cancer screening over at Manor Haven Beach Park from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And August 16th will be every stage of life cancer screenings. This is just an informational session though, and that's going to be at Clinton G. Martin Park from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. I saw the van that they brought back in July for the cancer screenings, and it was at our building. So I was able to really see, so many people were going in there, and I think it's really great that a lot of residents were taking use of that program. So definitely check that out. Once again, you have any questions, call 311 or 516-869-6311 for any information about the Wellness Wednesday programs. Okay, let me get this. I know we are going to be rapidly approaching the break soon, but I want to remind people that July 2023 is Parks and Recreation Month, and there's a lot of different programs that are coming up in that too. I'm scanning it right now to see what the next one is going to be. I don't unfortunately have in front of me, but if you call 311, you can get this specific schedule for that. July 30th is going to be an arena rock tribute, classic rock bands at North Hempstead Beach Park. And there's going to be a bunch of concerts going on in August as well. There's everything from the country music to a Rolling Stones tribute band to a Fleetwood Mac tribute band, Bruce Springsteen tribute, modern traditional country 70s and 80s hits, all kinds of soul, Dave Matthews. I mean, there is an endless amount of stuff coming up. So definitely check that out. So I encourage everyone to always go to these fun free programs that are in North Hempstead. The Wednesdays movies in the park. There's going to be the next one on August 9th is Black Panther Wakanda Forever at Whitney Pond Park at 8:30 p.m.
All right. Well, great stuff. We're going to take a quick break. You're listening to Project Independence and You Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We'll be right back with Talk of the Town.
WCWP is your home for great music and great conversation. You'll find all that and more on WCWP.org. Listen live on the web, check out the lineup, subscribe to podcasts, and stay up to date on the latest station events. Get in touch with us and let us know if you like what you're hearing. And find out how you can support or get involved at the only community public radio station serving Nassau's North Shore. Plus, sign up to get a free bumper sticker. It's all online at WCWP.org.
And welcome back to Project Independence and You Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. We're in our final Talk of the Town segment. It's another show that went very quickly. Again, we're pre-recording this show, so it will be airing on Friday, July 28th. And also will be on North Hempstead Television. So we're just going to find out a little bit more of what's going on in the town. Kristina Lou, you're on.
Yes. So coming up next week, Tuesday, August 1st, is the National Night Out, which is a huge town program. There's 3 locations this year. It'll be Whitney Pond Park, Lions Field in Port Washington, and Martin Bunkie Reed Park in Westbury. This is really a neighborhood, family-friendly event to just promote safety and unity. There's a lot of different organizations that are involved in this. There's music, there's different educational resources, giveaways, different local community vendors, refreshments. It's such a lovely event because it really does. You do feel, no matter which location you're at, the community aspect and people coming together. And really just feeling that unity. The Whitney Pond Park one, which is in Manhasset, kicks off at 4 p.m. The Lions Field program at Port Washington kicks off at 4 p.m. as well. And Bunkie Reed Park is going to be 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. The parade starts at 5:30 p.m. at the Salvation Army. So if you need more information about the specific schedule of that, obviously you can go to any one of them. It depends on, where you feel like going. So definitely check this out. I always think it's one of the best events the town does. So once again, that's Tuesday, August 1st. So check that out. Beck, I know you had mentioned earlier in the show about a Newsday article with senior scams. So I printed that out because I thought it was so fitting. We're clearly talking about scams all the time on this show. And this is really something that's growing on Long Island. And it's just important to make people aware. I don't know if
Did you see the numbers on there? Like, I think it was.
Yeah, it's crazy. So I have it underlined.
They had 6 reports or something.
Yeah,
like
so
that.
it was actually, as of July, Suffolk County officials said that they had received more than 500 scam reports. Nearly half were from residents 63 and older. Of that older cohort, 53 individuals, about 20% reported losing money, which is just absolutely horrible. And, Nassau County, the police department was saying in the past, they used to have like 11 a year, I believe it said. And now they have, as of July 11th, Nassau County Police reported that they had 216 reports of senior scams, which is an 83% increase from just 1 year ago. I mean, those numbers, when I saw that, were absolutely staggering. Because it's going, and the problem is now with this AI, because that's how it started. The article was that a grandfather received a call. He thought it was his granddaughter. She said she was driving to, her friend died suddenly. There was a funeral and she got in a car wreck, but she didn't tell her parents. And it was this whole panic situation that was created, which we've heard so many times before, unfortunately. The grandfather ran to Best Buy to get
terrible story,
to get gift cards. And it wasn't until the store manager thought something was up because the man, was in a panic because the other guy, the scammer, kept applying this pressure and saying they needed more money, they needed more money. So he realized, the store manager figured something was up, but unfortunately the man already lost up to $3,000 before he realized,
Right.
he was being
The
scammed.
store manager said, please call your daughter.
Yeah.
Like said,
and it was horrible. It's just, it's something that we've heard so many times from even our own seniors, and it's just an absolutely
That's where
horrendous.
that family password really comes into
Right,
play.
right.
And the tip that somebody gave on the show not long ago, that even if you don't remember the password, ask them what the password is.
Right.
But you should have a family password. And I've
Right,
talked to a lot
absolutely.
of people about that since.
I've been telling everyone, Otto, what you
Yeah.
said about that, because I do think that's such a good and easy way to, somewhat, combat all of this. So
You know what? It's amazing though, Kristina and Otto, is when we've been doing scams since the inception of Project
Yeah.
Independence.
A
You know,
long
it
time.
we finally convince people, older generation, hey, get on your computer, start emailing, do all this, and then then it's like, don't touch links, don't do
I
this.
know, I know.
So we've been doing this a long time, but I must say, in the last year, they are really getting the word out. I mean, there's stories in Newsday, there are programs to watch. I think even a lot of the store managers are paying attention.
Right.
When an older person comes up and buys obscure kinds of amounts of, gift cards, and
No, and I think that you're so right, Beck, and that just goes to, unfortunately, listen, that we're not able to stop the scammers, but we are able to talk about it and to educate people about it. And that's such a good point, Beck, because I see it more and more. I mean, I see a lot of programs. There's a lot of government elected officials sponsoring programs, talking about it. I see stuff on TV now. In our building alone, the police department dropped off a lot of alerts about scams and what to look out for. So I think it's really something that just educating and talking about, and that's what I always want to encourage people, that if you feel you've been victim of a scam, how important it is to really report it and get the word out. There's so many different organizations out there, government entities. I mean, look at Family and Children's Association that we had on earlier, also has a scam, awareness assistance kind of program. So it's just so important to spread the word, because also in this Newsday article, of course, they were talking about these phone calls to grandpa, is what they called it. And it's really because of these technological advancements, you're able to target like larger pools of people and just, shoot your shot. And they're hoping that someone's going to answer and fall a victim to this. And
well,
then
you sent out, I'm sorry, but you sent out something about that was put out by Patrick Ryder, the commissioner, and the county executive, about examples of distraction scams. And
those are scary too, because those are not computers,
Yes,
yeah,
and Otto, that's actually
has nothing to do with computers.
Right.
You the one that's on the top here, it says bank withdrawals. Somebody will flatten your tire, you go fix the tire, and they follow and see, yes, you went to the bank, you took money out, you lay it down on the seat maybe, and then you see you have a flat tire, so you get out to look at it.
Right.
And if the doors are not locked, they will take the money off the seat and away they go.
No, and it all goes back to, and Beck and I, address this, because this is actually one of the things that I saw on a table at our building. And I was like, oh my God, I got to bring this for the radio show. And, we were sharing this, like last week, Beck and I were saying, because that's something that, most of these things you fall victim to is when you're not paying attention. We're all distracted. You're running around, and I said, even like, in the past, I used to, just leave my pocketbook in a cart, and I'm packing up the, my car, because you're just like going, you're not thinking, and you have 10,000 things on your mind. I understand how these things can happen to people, but it's so incredibly important. I watch, and there's so many videos out now on social media about just being aware of your surroundings.
Be mindful.
Be mindful.
No, it really is though. Like you have to like actively, pay attention to what's going around you, because listen, it might not always stop everything, but it will certainly, avert a lot of potential issues, And, Otto was saying, and that, what struck me, because it goes to that loading groceries thing, because that's something that I see it all the time. And as I said, I was the one who, would do that too. So it's so important now to really, a lot of times if I have like, I wear like a little short, small backpack, I'll flip it in the front. So this way it's on my front. I'm aware of it. It's not just lurking around in the background, so it's just important, and then I know that this panhandling is really becoming an issue as well. I see it a lot when I'm driving around. There's a lot of people walking around the streets, coming up to your car window, asking for money. A lot of people have signs, and it's something that I really feel on Long Island, and I'm all over in all different towns, is something that's really increasing. So it's just it's unfortunate. Listen, it's hard times. A lot of people have fallen on hard times,
Yeah.
since COVID. Not everything is necessarily, but it's unfortunate, but you need to protect yourself and be aware of all of these things. And also in that Newsday article, it was talking about these romance scams. So it's people will be online or something, and then, it'll be this whole romance, because it all stems from, the article was saying, essentially loneliness and isolation. They called it a loneliness epidemic, what we're in. And it's sad, because I do believe that is true. We talk about that all the time, especially with our seniors who are completely isolated. They're like the elder orphans, we call them, who are just home and, not having any contact. So if someone is expressing interest, it's way more likely to, give into whatever this other person on the other end is asking. So, but what I did think was encouraging, Otto, because as you had mentioned about that flyer, since those things are not technology and people are, doing these in-person scam kind of things, they have been able to make a lot more arrests.
Right.
Which is good, because people are trying to do it in person, collecting money and stuff. So in that sense, they're able to actually arrest the person. So at the end of the day, we don't want people walking around in fear and in terror, obviously. But it is, Beck, what you said is being mindful, right? So be mindful of your surroundings. Take a minute, all these things happen when you are in a state of panic, and that's what they're hoping for. They want you to be panicked and to immediately try and resolve it. I mean, we've all been there in different circumstances. When you're in a state of panic or being frantic, you're not thinking clearly, and you're doing, all kinds of things. That's when accidents happen. That's when all kinds of stuff happens. So it's so important that if you do
Park by a light, don't, I mean,
yeah, and with these phone calls, just take a breath.
Right.
And then the best thing to do is, to call your child or grandchild back, whatever it is, don't ever just give in to what it is, really, and ask what Otto said. That golden nugget, I think, is the best golden nugget Otto has ever really shared on the show, to have that family password. Because I think, I did that with my family. I said to everyone, I said, let's just have it. It's something doesn't cost you any money. You're able to do, it's a relatively easy thing. And I love that. I said, even if you forget your password, just to ask the person, what's my password, certainly I think is important. So just be aware.
Last week, I was on vacation with family at one place, and there were about 19 of us. And I did the test, what's the password, and everybody knows the password.
There you go. So they passed their test. Otto said, "That's now
passed the test.
You passed it. Now you can enjoy the rest of your vacation. You have passed the test."
Yeah, unfortunately, it's what you have to do, and you have to be, as Rebecca said, mindful. You have to be mindful, and you got to pay attention, and don't fall to pressure of time and emergency situations. That particularly they come in on a phone call where you probably don't even use. A lot of people don't use a landline,
right?
And most of the time that's what they come in on, as opposed to the cell phone. I think. I don't even know if
I mean, what it is, the cell phones now are getting really good. As Beck had, during the show, received a call that actually said, potential scam, or it'll say scam likely. I mean, I get that all the time. And it's great, because a lot of times too, like my phone will it won't even ring. Like, if they think it's a potential scam, it won't even like ring, and it gets like sent right to voicemail. So there's a lot of different things, I see like these, if I'm talking cell phones, that they're able to do. And I think even on the caller ID of a home phone, sometimes it'll say like,
No, it
possible
does.
scam or yeah. So, I think at least those, you could take a moment to do that. But it's hard. I get it. If you were lonely, and that phone rings, I know about my grandpa, he wasn't actually scammed ever, but I mean, it was a form of scam. It was, these people just like trying to always like sell some kind of product, and he just wanted to chat with someone. So he would be like just talking, and we'd be like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And, luckily he had us. I was like, if you want me to find out information, he was always trying to look for a deal also, grandpa. So if you told him he was getting something for free, he was signing up. But, I understand, how it can. And I think that the shame that goes along with it, they're not necessarily, reporting. And that's what's crazy to me is that here we have these numbers that were in Newsday. And if you really think about how many more there probably are that have not been, reported is even more mind blowing. So it's just important. Tell people if this happened to you, if you experienced it. That's what I loved about our advisory committees when something would happen and they would come in and share it with the group and say, this happened to me. I got this letter, this
Right.
person did, and it was such a beneficial thing because everyone they told could now tell someone else, and
And
that's,
if you don't call the police and let them know, then they don't know.
yeah,
And they don't
exactly.
know that there's a potentially new scam or something like that. They want you to call because this soon as possible,
Yep,
because the more time
absolutely.
goes by, the less likelihood. But even if you're not sure, you can call them and let them
Yeah.
know. And they'll let you know. They know the latest scams. They'll go, you know what, that's a scam.
Yep.
That's happening now, and things you don't think of because we're at the point where we know a lot of these scams, the scammers are already on the new ones. So just call 911 and let them know what's happening.
Absolutely.
I think like you said, they're already on another new one. I think there's some general principles that you have to keep in your mind and be mindful of that enable you to detect the fact that, yes, this is a scam, even though you don't know the details of that particular scam. Like you mentioned, your grandfather looking for a deal. I know people who've gone on Facebook. There's ads on there sometimes. They buy this thing from whoever and they never get the product.
Yeah.
And you get charged. Now, if you don't go on your statement or your website for your bank or your credit card company and look, I've had it recently. I had for 3 months in a row, there was a charge of $3.50
Yeah,
from
because they'll put in,
somebody
right?
who I had no idea who they were. So I protested, disputed it to this bank, the credit card company, and they instantly canceled that one because they already know that that is a scam. They don't even have to investigate.
Yeah.
They know that, and I can't remember the name of it, unfortunately, all something. It turns out it was from some fictitious subscription.
Yeah.
And they,
No, and that's Otto. That's once again, it's important to pay attention to that. I say that all the time to really pay attention to your credit card statements, to your bank statements, because it's just it's so important to to avert these things.
And what do you know? That's it. So I want to thank again Kristina bringing those great guests on and so much information. There's so many great resources here in North Hempstead and on Long Island. Otto, great show as usual. Dan, thank you so much. We'll be back next week on Friday, and have a great weekend, everybody. You were listening to Project Independence and You, Community Talk Radio on 88.1 FM and WCWP.org. Have a great weekend, all.